Welcome to the upstreamlife.com. I'm your founder and editor, Vishal Krishna. I have a very old friend with me. He's been the champion of the blockchain industry for a while. Raghu, welcome.
Very kind words, but
we've known each other for a very long time.
That's true, but champion of the blockchain ecosystem.
So you've got something nice going on now. It's called BuildersTribe.
Yes,
What's it all about?
It's a alternative to a traditional incubator and accelerator for Web3 companies. We are a marketplace that provides specific help to founders. We're gated by reputation on both sides.
Okay.
People who can help get better startups, and people who showcase very high levels of seriousness get better help.
Okay, incubators. What do you do? What do you do? Incubation center, or is it an accelerator? What do you do?
It's a digital product, which is designed like a Amazon for startups, if you may.
So what? It's a marketplace for help, or what?
Yeah, it's a marketplace for help.
How does
So
it
if
work?
I want to find mentorship, I've got a tribe that I can choose from. If I want credits for tools that I use, I have a listing for them. If I want to reach out to investors, there are about 400 of them that I can request to connect with. If I want to partner with various organizations, there's a large list of them as available as well. The magic happens in the gating, so that relevance is maintained, and also startups are gated by how serious they are about what they're building, and investors and this tribe is gated by how helpful they are.
So you connect the two?
Yes, the platform connects the two.
Okay, most interesting thing in this is about 6 years ago, there were not many blockchain companies in India. Everybody is in the trading side of it, but now the technology seems to have taken precedence. You want to talk about why, and why do you want to help the technology community?
Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin and crypto was the engineers' revolt against traditional finance. So at the core of it, it is actually an engineering movement which is held together by a shoestring of engineers. At least at that time it was.
Yes.
Today at the event, it's very different. What was shocking at the time was, there were more speculators, more people talking about Web3 than actually building in the space. And I had a background in developer evangelism and developer relations, and I built builder communities before. I just felt at home in the space and applied my trade here. That grew into Lumos, and then Lumos spun out into BuildersTribe. It's been good so far.
So how does Lumos and BuildersTribe work together?
I look at the BuilderStack as two segments. One segment is a hobbyist, a developer who wants to do something for fun, wants to work for a company with the skills that they've acquired in Web3. The founder is somebody who has the skills to build a Web3 network, but wants to build something long term, and tending to perhaps building a network that sustains itself on its own. I mean, get this, right? If you look at Bitcoin, it's a payments company, it's Visa, with 0 employees, right? And extremely much more efficient. I've seen hacks where Bitcoin gets transferred from one part of the world to another instantaneously at 4 cents. And the amount that was transferred was $40 million.
Wow.
No bank can do that today. So objectively, there are some things that a network is much better at doing. That to me is a new wave of company building. It's a new way of thinking that no employees, things happen autonomously. Let's build a network that sustains itself because incentives are aligned and a common purpose is adhered to by every participant.
Well, that's the root of everything, right? We talked about the early centralization movement was mainframes and data, right? And then this internet revolution happened where information was being shared but still centralized. Then we had the cloud movement, but then again it is still centralized. But now decentralization is beginning now. I could see the age group at the event, hardly 20, 21, the attendees. And I'm sure they'd build for a real decentralized world like you mentioned, where the trust is ensured.
Maybe I'm a little older.
We're all getting old, but we will see that change.
I have a nuanced view on this. We actually were had the privilege of doing a round table with Vitalik Buterin when he came to Bangalore actually. The good folks at People Plus AI had hosted him. It's an offshoot of the UID AI. There's some interesting things going on there which you should definitely check out. But Vitalik, the father of Ethereum, the guy who set all of this in motion, looks at decentralization in a spectrum. Not everything needs to be decentralized, and you can almost draw an inverse graph where the lesser the consequence of an action, the less decentralized it needs to be. So a like button, a share button, a social media post to some extent does not need to be decentralized. But where the concentration of power is extremely high, that is where decentralization tech brings in efficiency, transparency, and a sense of trustlessness. So, to answer your question, all of us start as decentralization maximalists. And you very quickly realize to make something work, you can't be completely decentralized. There are some parts of the system that need to be decentralized for better efficiency gain. So maybe I'm probably on the other side of 30 that's probably looking at this space with a little more pragmatism.
I think that's how the evolution will happen also. You'll see all these large centralized players adopting to decentralization slowly. And the movement's already happened. It's just that I feel that they haven't figured out the throughput in this. I don't know at what scale they have to do it. How should they do it? For example, earlier on the guests were saying that some of the distinguished guests like the Jedi Swap founder, Rohit was saying that if somebody has to do a farm to fork kind of supply chain that has transparency, immutability across the chain, and it's an engineering problem to solve, it has multiple players, you have to think through that solution differently, right? And then, but he said you can today with decentralization, you can have a trust layer outside, from outside coming in, but these centralized players should be open to having outsiders coming in and verifying things.
That's true.
That will probably take a generation or so.
Yes and no. So for example, no amount of throughput can meet the demands of a full-scale, full-blown internet today, right? On the one hand, you have the likes of Mo Sheikh from Aptos saying Web2 companies are coming to him and asking him, can you give me 1 million TPS? That's unfathomable, right? There is Sandeep who said that you have to have infinite TPS. Have you ever seen AWS talk about its throughput?
No, they
don't, right? Because they don't have to. They are infinitely scalable. That's what blockchains need to be if they are to power infrastructure for tomorrow. So you're absolutely right in the sense that no amount of scaling, whether even that's 1 million transactions a second, is going to be enough for the creation of this new internet. And I think that was very telling in one of the talks that I did with Sandeep, where he was extremely clear about the fact that we are nowhere close to where we need to be.
Not yet.
Yeah, to imagine a decentralized internet to start with.
But that will happen at some point, don't you think? With so many, but I've seen decentralized apps. But you're saying that the TPS is the problem at this point of time. That can change.
Among other things. Among other things.
Security?
Use case specific, TPS to some extent has been solved. I would say it's the user experience, right? Like to own your own assets, make your own decisions, sign every transaction within using a DApp will give you a real appreciation of how easy it is to use a traditional product, right? That's a big barrier to overcome. I'm sure there are regulatory challenges in some countries, but the job of the builder is to build, and the job of the tinkerer is to use it as easily as possible.
I'll give you an analogy, and you'll appreciate it. Ever since I've started up, there's so many signatures that I have to make on so many documents. Most of them tax, quarterly filings, this, that. What really happens is you really don't know what you're signing. Sometimes you have a digital signature and you're putting it out there. You want somebody to say that this is verified.
This is okay.
That never happens, man, as a founder. It's always an afterthought because the CA then comes back and says there is a problem. You get what I'm saying?
True.
I signed an agreement with somebody which almost got me into trouble. With a larger company, and which is where decentralization could have really helped.
I feel it would have compounded the problems.
Do you think
because your CA would still be able to give you a way out. Once you make an immutable signature, it's done.
You're saying I'll be stuck?
It's done. I'll give you a great example, right?
I mean, you're like being an antithesis on it. Why? Well, it's good. At least you're being fair. You're fairly open. Yes, please.
I think you have to be balanced. Let me give you an example.
Yes, please.
Everyone says smart contracts makes things more efficient. I buy a autonomous car. I am on an EMI plan, which goes through a smart contract.
Yeah, and cars are complex.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
So now I don't make the EMI payment on time, and the smart contracts ensures that the car doesn't work.
And you might be driving and it suddenly stops.
And I have a pregnant wife.
That is
you
dangerous.
Get it? There are conundrums here that we need to figure out before we get there. Is the technology powerful? Yes, but we need to be real with ourselves about what's possible today. And I think this set of people who spoke here, I love them to bits because they are pragmatists too. They are open to criticism. They're not being mercenary about it. They're not selling you complexity, which our industry is notorious for. They will sell you complexity, and it's your fault for not knowing, right? Which is not how the space reaches adoption, right?
So you're basically saying that the industry today has been thrown in a lot more technology than use cases that can be appreciated.
It hurts me to say that. It hurts me to say that. But the use cases that are there are immensely powerful. For example, the COVID relief that Sandeep did, raising $1 billion in a couple of days would not have happened with traditional finance.
Yes.
That money going into vaccine research and reaching people
also.
and traced also. You know exactly where the money came from, right? And that money going into vaccine research in India, in the speed at which it happened, it's insane, right?
But then what is the confusion all about?
That not everything needs to be decentralized.
That's it.
Right?
You become like you said, you're not, I mean, if we'd done the same interview 7 years ago.
I may have said the same thing.
I
just didn't have the words to say it at that time.
Yes, absolutely. It's perhaps you've seen everything in the ecosystem now.
Yes.
Right? And that tells you to be a realist now.
Yes.
But there is a future here. If that COVID use case is anything.
100%.
Yes.
For example, DeFi, for example, right? Being able to borrow and lend for yield is a process that required a bank, 100,000 licenses, these many employees, regulations, operate within a jurisdiction. To make that permissionless, borderless, that means that you can give financial products to someone who's unbanked. That is a serious leg up on what exists.
I mean, this is financial inclusion at scale.
Right. So this needs to be decentralized because the powers that be, the centralized powers, have hindered the access of these useful products to everyone in the world. Right? It makes the world equitable. Needs to be decentralized, makes sense. Do we need another animal pictured PFP to be the next big thing that the entire...
I'm glad you said this. You're saying for all the decentralized fans out there, don't sell the technology, sell the use case.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And they would do it if the use case is apparent to sell.
So you're saying a lot of ideas will come and go.
I'm not very popular in my industry, as you can tell right now.
It's fine, you're
I will not buy into every hype
which this realism is required for whatever reason. I saw a lot of Ponzi schemes which didn't help in between. Right? And the technology was being forgotten and people were talking more about the investment products. It's really strange, isn't it? What happened last 5-6 years?
No, I think it's normal.
Do you think it's normal?
It's
for
normal
any new technology to go through a curve, through an investment curve where everybody went after the investment cycle more than the realism that you just spoke about?
No, I think it's the function of a free market. Right?
Yeah.
It's
true. I'll agree with you on history because the great crisis, financial crisis of 1929-30 was it was a run on the market, right? On the real estate market, started there. 2008, it was about these housing. It's similar, and the tulip boom is also similar.
Exactly.
But it sets the motion for how things should be regulated, but not centralized. I mean, centralization makes sure that these ideas don't take off. That pains me. The use case. For example, let's talk about one of your guests here, Jedi Swap again, has this great idea that you have a problem, you have people come in and solve it, with transparency, and they're clued into solving the problem that you have, and he has 0 employees. Which is great.
It's awesome, right?
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So again, going there, certain use cases can be solved there.
Yeah.
It can help the gig economy in many ways. We were talking about the problem of unemployment.
Yeah.
It can solve it.
Yeah. And it really, there's a kid called Datta Raj. You should meet him. Shout out to him.
So great shout out to Datta. I don't know who he is. So you tell me who he is.
17-year-old kid from Hubli contributes to a lot of projects as core infrastructure.
Okay.
Like, we don't even know where all of this stuff is coming from. There's so many faceless developers that actually make a good living out of just contributing to these projects. And it's made it worth their while. And I love the idea of high quality work from anywhere that you're at. Right? Axie Infinity, not a fan, right? Like where, hey, Philippines, low income area, $500 a week is a great thing. Everyone sit and play this game. So long as the market lasted, it was great for them. What happened after?
Yeah,
right?
terrible.
That is not high quality.
Same thing wherever they manufactured shoes.
Exactly. It's not high quality work. This is. Vitalik said that beautifully when he was asked that, so you're automating everything. Are you the destroyer of jobs? He says, no, I'm the destroyer of shitty jobs and creator of cooler ones, which I think is worth thinking about for us as a population.
It is because I've been trying to write. I mean, I've been trying to solve this from 2005-6 when I wrote saying, only about 8% of the engineers are employable.
Oh Lord!
Educated.
Oh, I remember these. I remember those days.
Educated but unemployable was the headline, right? And it made me quite unpopular, where universities really
did not like you.
Talk to me. This was many years ago. So I think that can be solved. Like you said, the shittier jobs go away, the cooler jobs come your way, and again, decentralization is a great use case. You can at least skill yourself there.
Yes.
Right.
Which is where I think India will do a great job. Just the interest. So usually in these conferences, you will find that the stall areas and the networking areas are full and the halls are empty. The halls are 3/4 full, and so the stall areas are always full, which is quite nice to see. It's just there are people with actual questions and interest in the topics that are being shared here.
Okay. You should give me the mood, because I've been here doing interviews.
Right.
What's the mood of the younger lot there? What kind of questions are they asking? Tell me. I hope it's beyond finance, beyond investing.
It is. It is. There are 3 things that people have come here for. One is to meet their heroes. Right. These are people that you don't get to see on a daily basis. Although we had two of those greats come in virtually, everyone else was here. Visa issues, so they couldn't make it. But that's number one reason why everybody came. I did a dipstick survey at the thing. The second reason why people came in here was for jobs. And if you go out here, there are 8 companies hiring in a room, and a serpentine line starting from the entrance of that room right up to the entrance of the hall.
I saw that. Do you know why I know it's about jobs? You were right. Because the guy came up to me and said, are you hiring?
Because you're very
That's well said. Okay, and I actually invited him to my office. That's so true.
You should hire.
I did. I said, I know a lot of engineering companies. Come down and talk to me.
That was funny.
That's fun, right?
That was funny. So that's the second thing that people have come for. The third thing is this monumental $100,000 being given away at a demo day. Our product allows for a lot of diligence that a VC can exercise on a startup even before they present. So
which you mean you validated them or something?
Yeah, the community validates them. So these startups that are pitching here, big VCs have spoken to them and ascribed reputation to them. Users have spoken to them and said that yes, I like their product. Partners have said it was great working with them. And so by the time it lands on someone who's making an investing decision, they're like, yeah, okay, this checks out, right? And that's why they are confident enough to give away money at this place.
How do you build a community? 7 years consistently. I mean, a lot of highs, lows. Now we've been traveling across the world. I mean, what keeps you alive in this? What keeps you alive in the?
I don't know anything else to do. I don't know how to do anything else.
That's a good answer. Yeah. But something must be driving you.
Okay, I get pretty emotional about this. But my father is a very senior Air Force officer. He's still serving. And I wanted to join the Air Force when I was in the second year of my engineering. And he said, why do you want to join the Air Force? And he said, because I want to serve the country.
You said that?
Yeah. But I truly meant that. I used to be extremely proud of...
youth and its ways, right? We always want to do something of that sort.
The glory was awesome.
Glory is everything when you're young.
So then he said, if you really want to serve the country, give somebody a job. And you would have served it more than I have. And
very deep word.
That stuck with me, I know it sounds cliche, but it stuck with me.
Was he angry taking orders?
Maybe. Well, at that time he was a chief engineering officer of a base. So I don't think he was taking many orders at that time.
Absolutely. Right? But why did he say that? I'm just curious.
I think
what impact did it have on you?
So then he explained that the country has a demographic bulge, right? And he says that most of the problems that I face as in the defense is because of unemployed youth, right? Youth that does not have purpose gets drafted into activities that are against the nation. If these people, and then he showed me he showed me the truth serum video of Ajmal Kasab before he was executed. He said, "अच्छे खाते पीते family से आते तो ये सब क्यों करते?" Right, and those sort of things stay with you. And for us, I think maybe
it is the depravity and the poverty of the situation, right? It is true.
And there's nothing greater than job creation and wealth creation in a country like mine.
Yeah,
I'm doing my bit.
I think India has done so well on the technology side and the way we are presenting ourselves globally. This is phenomenal to create that global community with India.
Yeah.
You know,
I like that idea that my skin color is not judged when I'm in this community.
yeah, absolutely. You're judged only by the lines of code.
Yeah, and you're judged by what you've built.
Yes.
Right? That's nice. I like that about this space. It wasn't like this when we all of those years ago. We were perceived as pretty scammy. Back then.
Some of you scammy, some of you too brainy.
Yeah, like we are not cool. Now we are. Now we are to some extent. It's
coming in place. There's a lot of, PR on this and community on this, which is a good thing. Where to for BuildersTribe from your view?
I want to build this marketplace to a point where it runs itself and is alive well after I'm gone. Right? That's the point of networks. Networks are immortal. Right? You can't shut down Bitcoin because you arrested their CEO or confiscated their or you shut down their internet. Even if you shut down internet, there are innovations that beams Bitcoin transactions through satellite from one wallet to another. It's ridiculous. It's unstoppable, immutable networks which will live forever.
Do you see these two forces colliding at some point of
Which
time?
ones?
The old central bank networks and this very financial ecosystem that you talk about now?
It's likely. It's bound to happen.
Or do you see the old foggies adopting to this new technology anyway, and then
it's equally likely
and legitimizing the whole thing that they did it first, just like what happened with the IPL, for example.
Have you seen
ICL to IPL kind of thing?
Have you seen Larry Fink come on news? He's the CEO of BlackRock, who says that Bitcoin is the future. This is a hedge fund.
This news I've read.
This is a hedge fund that controls $10 trillion or $20 trillion of value. And he said, what use is it for him to talk about a less than $1 trillion market?
Guess what? In 2017, I was in Las Vegas for a public cloud conference, and Starbucks was actually giving coffee based on Bitcoin at that point in time, or some form of crypto.
Yeah.
If they can do it, I'm sure it could be the future, but everybody's caught up in this investing mentality. That's it.
The reason I brought up the example of BlackRock is that I think the older generation, the people who built the systems that run the world are smart. They didn't get there without any of this, and I think there will be some level of adoption. I think BlackRock has filed for so many ETFs for crypto, for Bitcoin and ETH. So it is something that is seeing adoption at that level. For all you know, it may just integrate more than collide.
And be legitimized. Okay, my last question to you is, so much happening. What should the younger person focus on? Be part of ecosystems where they can learn about the technology, experiment with it. Like, in 2010, when smartphones happened, we as journalists, they go experiment by building an app.
Yeah.
Right?
You built an app?
No, I didn't, but journalists would ask others. We were just the messengers, right? They tell you, there are so many of these IT services, small IT services shops that would build you mobile phones. They got rich also by building for America, right? And some of them got funded.
Yes.
So would you suggest that go build, learn, collaborate? Is that a good way? Learn from good ecosystems. There's enough information out there.
6 years ago, I would have told you everybody should start up. Now I realize that starting up is a privilege.
Yes.
Right? You need to be in a particular place in your life or have had experiences that drive you to keep doing that.
Which is why I started up, exactly. Otherwise, it's hard, man.
So
every day.
I'm not gonna do that. I just think that if you're looking for meaningful work, there is plenty of spaces in Web3 that will give you that, and you don't have to be, just looking for the same avenues for jobs. This line is heartbreaking and exhilarating at the same time, right? There's this one girl that comes up and says, I don't have a resume, will they talk to me? And I said, can you demonstrate that you know what you can do? She's like, I know, I've done this. Like, that's great, go ahead and say that. I think that this is the only industry that will take you for what you can do versus where you've been.
I agree with you there, because there's so many engineers out there who can actually, if they respect their engineering, they can go build this.
Exactly. And that's and the other thing, the exhilarating bits are where I'm like, what are you applying for? I'm a back-end engineer. It's like, oh, what have you built? I was like, I've got these projects, have a look at it. This I did at this hackathon. This I built in my side project. It's like,
a guy just came and told me I've done React projects, Python projects.
That's awesome, right?
That's awesome.
You remember the last time when you and I were probably looking for jobs, we would go with a resume.
And without resume, they'd throw you out.
Exactly. How cool is this?
And they would just throw you out. They'd say you're not done, or you've not written a proper resume. This is work done and available, which you can share and get employed immediately.
Exactly. I built that.
Yeah.
What more proof do you want?
Yeah, man.
Right?
I mean, what a beautiful world we're living in, Raghu. Those are great final thoughts. But what are you reading? Do you get time to read? You're traveling the world now.
I read a lot.
What are you reading currently?
Fiction. I think we were talking about this in the morning as well. There's this graphic novel called
Kabul
Disco. Yeah, Kabul Disco.
That's something I won't miss. It sounds like a David Bowie song also, but Kabul Disco is an amazing title.
Yeah, it's got the same sort of vibe to it as well, like a David Bowie song. Right? That's fun. Again, revisiting a lot of the foundational stuff. I read a lot of startup pitch decks. You know?
You do? You like them?
Yeah, there are 1,500 startups on my platform. Every week I've got about 20 new pitch decks to read.
They write you for connections? Mostly?
No, they build a profile and all the data is there, so I read it.
And what do you think? What's the best pitch deck that you've read?
The best pitch deck was no pitch deck.
What did that
There was like, here's my product, go check it out, and if you request a call on this place, I will talk to you. So it was a video communication call. In fact, these guys are actually
that
doing
was like bold.
This was a conference. They are doing another conference right now. Huddle 01. Yes. I have not seen the Huddle pitch deck till date. I have only seen the product and what it can do. He pitched his product inside his product.
That's
and I felt like that'll always stay as the greatest pitch that I've seen.
No, that's amazing. Great to know, Raghu, and wish BuildersTribe all the best.
Thank you.
And Build for Web3, a major success for you. Is it growing as a community?
I think it's had problems, but the good kind of problems. It's too many people.
Yeah, it's good, no? It's good to have too many people. That's always good for a problem.
Yeah.
And that means more word of mouth out there for people to attend next year.
Yeah.
And Raghu, all the best to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
Yeah.